Hi, this is Sandy,
And this is Trina.
and we're coming to you straight from sunny, not so sunny today, Manteca.
California. I want you to know we are in California.
We are in California. Well, today is a little heavier subject. Today you're going to meet Trina, and you're going to meet how Trina met her grief. So let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Um, I met my grief, and this specifically, to me, I have this image in my head because there's a song that says, when you're in a hospital room and the doctors tell you, well, there's nothing more we can do.
Mm.
And so, in that moment, I met my grief,
Mm.
and specifically relating to my mom, who I originally thought she was dehydrated, very active, energetic person who physically I thought would definitely outlive me. She could walk faster. She was in good health, in my opinion. She had had some bouts, just different health issues, but not to the point that somebody could tell me she was experiencing the end of life in like a
Mm.
6, 7 hour period. So for me, I met grief in that room when the doctor said, "We want to meet with you all," and specifically that she is, getting to the end of life, and that to me was it's just extreme turbulence, and I could not wrap my head around how they couldn't fix this. And so for me, it was, well, do all that you can do, fix it. I mean, surgery, whatever it takes. And so originally, I thought that they were going to do surgery, and then they came back and said there's nothing else we can do. And so it was just it's still to me in that moment, or I can go back to that moment and say this is not real. I'm not having a real
Mm.
experience here. And and as I'm sitting there with her in the hospital, and she is asking questions of me, and she's asking questions that it took me quite some time to kind of wrap my mind about what she was asking me. And it was in November, and so for me, I had been known for hosting Thanksgiving, but with the help of family members too, in terms of we assign different things to different people. But she kept in the hospital asking me, what are you going to do for Thanksgiving? And I'm thinking, I don't know, what do you want me to
Mm.
do? So she had in that moment said, you know, host Thanksgiving. And then I said, so you're going to bring something. I'm making these jokes because that was our relationship, for me to make jokes that she didn't really always want to laugh at. However, what I still also have this image of, I grabbed her hand and then she looked at me and said, what are you going to do for your birthday? And my birthday's in December. So again, this is November. We got to get through Thanksgiving. And she is plotting my course. I don't know this at the time. I don't even know why she's asking me these questions at the time. But I know she is. I'm getting a little emotional. I can feel it.
Mm.
She's plotting my course because December is coming, and she already knew Thanksgiving is a big deal for me. But on this particular birthday, it's a big birthday. I'm turning 60, and then I said, well, everybody has plans. Well, if you just get well, you can go with me. And my plan was to go to Vegas, and then and then she would have moments where she kept bringing up what happened, and she just got a little dizzy, and she's kind of blaming it on one of our cousins, though the reason she's in the hospital when in fact she was sick. And so, but what I also remember is, what are you gonna do for Christmas? And I keep revisiting this because Um, Fast forward months later, and I'll say it like Sandy said it in our last segment. You are not in your own body. You are having an out of body experience. And my background is this: I don't have any kids, and I've never been married, and so we're talking about my next of kin here. And so my next of kin is sitting here, doctor saying there's nothing else they can do. And that's what I didn't have a plan for. I didn't have a plan for my own business side. I hadn't thought of me that way. I just thought keep up with people by making sure you do something valuable with your time. Going back to school, I'm not a mother, so I got to show, you know, my worth on this earth. And I'm going to leave something behind. Um, but I never thought about who am I leaving it with and who am I leaving it for? Because she's always been in my equation. And so you have to think about those things, and then you get to the space where it's business time. So now I can't focus on anything other than the funeral, like making decisions. I don't have the ultimate decision because I'm not her only child. In fact, I'm her youngest child. So we have to talk these things out, and we're not always looking at life the same way. um, I kept focusing on what would she do. She was somebody who I worshiped with. We went to the same church, so I knew from a spiritual standpoint what her expectations were. I would not back off that. But we didn't have a problem with that, anyways. But we knew where the church was going to be. We knew what pastor would do it. We kind of knew some of the things. We may not have been completely in agreement with some of the small things, but it's a business. So, funeral homes will try and sell you different things. We got past it though. We had a service. We honored her. What we got the privilege of seeing is we got the privilege of seeing how one should die, not must die, by talking to God for 45 consecutive minutes. And I do, again, know that she was plotting my course. And I can't speak for anyone other than me in this moment. It was a between me and her moment that came up later on. And so and so we honored her in a service that was decent and in order, because that's the only thing she required of her children, to behave and act decent and in order, uh, and save for your bad behavior for inside, right? We're not going to say we were ever perfect, but it was a beautiful service. It was a beautiful experience. And I'm gonna be honest, I really miss her, like, every day. And I just, I don't want to do the regrets, even though there is this levels of guilt of, you know woulda, coulda, shoulda. I think we said that in a previous segment. Wish I would have done this or said this, or been more of. And um and i and I do look at some relationships and say I don't regret what we did do. There are so many things I did with her. There's so many things I did for her, and there's just so many things she did for me. And what I know that she did for me was to calm my reaction to human behavior. Like, that was my soft place to vent. And I could vent without judgment. What I knew is I'm never going to be judged in that space.
Mm-hmm.
What she knew is that I had deep feelings. And I still think that the people that are close to me, I have this in my head that I don't think that they think that I feel like she knew. what she knew about me is that I, was like, and I liken it to an egg. I heard this from my Sunday school teacher, that it's hard on the outside and then it's just yolk in the inside. And so, it's tough, this tough exterior. And to be honest, that is not who I am at all. People hurt my feelings all the time, and I just kind of either I rev up, but they never get to see the hurt. They see the, you know, so I miss that. I miss that she could bring me back from those experiences and from those moments. And now I got to find a new way, a new path, a new way of dealing with my events, my whatever is happening. That she had this way of saying that's how people are. People are just people. And so you forgive them and you move past it. It's always let it go, forgive them, move past it. And so I miss that. I miss that okay, get it out, vent it, feel it, cry, and then you gotta keep moving. And so again, every day is a new day of the relationship. Um, but I mean, I do believe that this is not happenstance that we would talk about grief, because sometimes you were born to do some things, and I was postured for this experience with to discuss grief with people. I've lost other people in my life, but I never felt like I lost my lifeline. I just lost people in my life. So I had to, and I'm still on the journey of plugging back into a lifeline. And so it's kind of where I am with the grief story. I will share some recovery with you in our next segment.
Yes,
And
I would like to continue the conversation in our next segment and hear from you, Trina, on where you are on the lifeline and how did you find yourself. What's that roadmap like and what it's been up till to now? So, with that being said, friends, I can't tell you, Trina can't tell you enough how much this means to us
yeah,
for you all to share what you are experiencing with us, but allowing us to share what we've experienced with you all and still experiencing it. And like we've said before, this is, I don't want to call it a life sentence, but it really is kind of a life sentence because it's something that you'll never forget. And as long as you're here, you're going to always have moments and times where you reflect. But that's what we have each
hmm
other for,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So remember, don't forget to find your lighthouse.
It'll help you find your way out of the darkness.
Until next time, friends.
We'll see you later.